Imagine a country with over 120 million people, one of the fastest growing economies in Africa, but completely cut off from the sea. This is Ethiopia, a nation that has been landlocked for over 3 decades. But what if this giant of the Horn of Africa decided it wanted its coastline back? What if it decided to rebuild a navy from scratch? This isn't a hypothetical question. Ethiopia's Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, has made it crystal clear Ethiopia has a natural right to the sea, and he's determined to make it happen. Today, we're diving deep into Ethiopia's audacious sea dream. Can a nation without a single port rebuild a powerful navy? And what would that mean for one of the most volatile regions in the world? Let's rewind the clock. It wasn't always this way. For nearly 40 years, Ethiopia possessed a formidable navy, one of the most respected in the region. Its sailors were trained by the best, and its ships patrolled the strategic waters of the Red Sea from its home ports in Massawa and Assab. These weren't just military bases. They were symbols of Ethiopia's regional power and a source of immense national pride. The Imperial Ethiopian Navy was a key player, projecting strength and safeguarding the nation's maritime interests. But everything changed in 1991. After a long and brutal civil war, Eritrea, the province where the ports were located, fought for and won its independence. In 1993, when Eritrea was officially recognized, Ethiopia lost its entire coastline overnight. The once proud navy was disbanded, its ships scattered, sold, or left to rust in foreign ports. Ethiopia, a country with a rich maritime history dating back to the ancient kingdom of Aksum, became the world's most populous landlocked nation. This geographical reality has had a massive impact. Today, around 95% of Ethiopia has trade everything from cars and machinery to grain, and fuel flows through the port of a single neighboring country, Djibouti. While the relationship is functional, it's also incredibly expensive and strategically vulnerable. Ethiopia pays over $1 billion a year in port fees. More importantly, its economic lifeline is entirely in the hands of another nation. Imagine your country's entire economy being dependent on a single highway that you don't control. That's the reality for Ethiopia. This dependency is what Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed calls a geographic prison, and he's determined to find a key. In a series of bold and sometimes controversial statements, Abiy has put the issue of sea access at the very top of his national agenda. He hasn't just talked about it in closed-door meetings. He's spoken to Parliament, to university students, and to the public, framing it as an existential issue for Ethiopia's future. He argues that a nation of its size and ambition cannot remain choked off from the world's most vital trade arteries. He speaks of a historical right, a connection to the Red Sea that is deeply embedded in the Ethiopian psyche. This isn't just about economics, it's about restoring a sense of national destiny. For many Ethiopians, the loss of the sea was a national trauma, a symbol of decline. Rebuilding a navy and regaining port access is seen as a way to reclaim that lost dignity and secure Ethiopia's place as a regional powerhouse. So, how could Ethiopia actually achieve this? There are several potential pathways, each with its own set of complex challenges. The most peaceful and logical route is through negotiation. One option is Eritrea. The two nations have a shared history and culture, but also a deeply painful past, including a devastating border war fought shortly after Eritrea's independence. A landmark peace deal was signed in 2018, raising hopes for a new era of cooperation. An agreement for Ethiopia to use Eritrean ports like Assab, which was originally built to serve Ethiopia, would be a game-changer. However, deep-seated political mistrust remains a major hurdle, and relations have been frosty lately. Another option is Somaliland, the self-declared independent republic that broke away from Somalia, Ethiopia recently signed a controversial memorandum of understanding with Somaliland, which would grant Ethiopia a 50-year lease on a 20-kilometer stretch of coastline for a naval base and commercial port. In return, Ethiopia would reportedly offer Somaliland official recognition, something no other country has done. This move sent shockwaves across the region. Somalia, which still considers Somaliland part of its territory, called the deal an act of aggression and a violation of its sovereignty. This highlights the delicate tightrope Ethiopia must walk. Then, there's the existing arrangement with Djibouti. Ethiopia could try to negotiate a more permanent, co-owned stake in the port of Djibouti, moving from a customer to a partner. Or it could explore joint naval agreements with other regional players. The core challenge is that sea access isn't just a commercial transaction. It's a deeply political and emotional issue tied to sovereignty and national identity for all countries involved. Abiy Ahmed's direct and public approach has put his neighbors on high alert, raising tensions with Eritrea, Somalia, and even Egypt, which is wary of any shift in the regional power balance, especially concerning the Red Sea and the Nile. And let's not forget the cost. Building a navy from scratch is an enormously expensive undertaking. It's not just about buying ships. You need to build port infrastructure, training academies, and a complex logistical support system. You need to train thousands of sailors, engineers, and officers. For a country still grappling with internal conflicts and economic challenges, can it afford such a massive military investment? The government believes it's a necessary price to pay for long-term security and prosperity. They see it as part of a broader military modernization. In recent years, Ethiopia has been quietly but steadily upgrading its air force and land forces. A navy would be the final, crucial piece of the puzzle, creating a comprehensive defense force capable of protecting its interests on land, in the air, and now at sea. This ambition doesn't exist in a vacuum. The Red Sea is one of the most crowded and strategic maritime corridors on the planet. It's a choke point for global trade, connecting Europe and Asia via the Suez Canal. And everyone wants a piece of it. Global powers like China, the United States, and Russia, as well as regional heavyweights like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, all have significant military and economic interests there. China has its only overseas military base in Djibouti. The UAE has a presence in Eritrea and Somaliland. An Ethiopian Navy, even a small one, entering this crowded theater would inevitably shift the geopolitical chessboard. Would Ethiopia align with one of these powers for support? And how would the existing players react to a new navy on the block? The implications are global. Ultimately, Ethiopia's quest for sea access is about more than just ships and ports. It's a powerful story about national identity, historical grievance, and future ambition. For Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, it's a legacy-defining project. For many Ethiopians, it represents the revival of a great nation reclaiming its rightful place in the world. But for its neighbors, it's a source of anxiety, raising fears of instability in an already fragile region. The challenges are immense: the financial cost, the political sensitivities, and the deep-seated historical mistrust. But the determination in Addis Ababa is undeniable. The coming years will reveal whether Ethiopia as sea dream can become a reality or if it will remain a tantalizing but out-of-reach ambition. The waves of the Red Sea have witnessed the rise and fall of empires for millennia. They may soon witness the birth of a new naval power. What do you think? Is Ethiopia's naval ambition a realistic goal or a dangerous gamble? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If you found this deep dive interesting, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to eGreen channel for more content that explores the fascinating geopolitics of our world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.